Glenn got a primetime speaking slot, and he is hoping for a bump in the polls against Democratic incumbent Michael Bennet. Now, there is a third candidate hoping to gain traction in the race as well, and Marshall has more with Arn Menconi.
Arn Menconi is the Green Party's candidate for U.S. Senate. And Arn, you're a former Eagle County commissioner, and this may be the first time metro area voters are seeing you. So what should they know about who you are?
Well, I've lived in Colorado for 25 years. I ran a national charity for disadvantaged youth. It started out as the Snowboard Outreach Society, and then we thought other sports might become big too, so we got into mountain biking, skiing, and others. We helped over 40,000 kids in 20-some years. It's still running, and it's about bringing kids up to the slopes, out into the outdoors, and teaching them value-based leadership. I have a master's in business administration from the University of Denver, and I was a two-term Eagle County commissioner, and I've also worked on some statewide campaigns back during that time period.
Well, so we're familiar clearly with Republicans and Democrats, and when people get their ballots, they're going to see the names that they recognize. They're going to see Senator Michael Bennet, they're going to see Darrell Glenn on the Republican side, and then they're going to see Green Party candidate Arn Menconi. And why should a voter say, I'm going to transition from what I'm used to, and we're going to go with a different party?
Because I've been traveling all over the state and I've been looking into this for quite some time. I was a Democrat. I switched over because I was going out to Washington so much in order to try to lobby for the issues like against the TPP, for the Iran deal, against fracking and other things. And what I've learned in traveling around the state is people feel disenfranchised. I hear more often than not that we have a two-party system, the inside party and the outside party. And people want someone who's got common sense, who's willing to represent them, who isn't taking special interest money from banks, from the oil companies, all of the Koch brothers, whatever, and really working on the issues that they want represented for Colorado.
Let me touch on that real quick, because Darrell Glenn, shoestring budget, maybe a budget when he won the primary, and now he's getting some outside help. From that standpoint, he's a candidate that wasn't taking taking some PAC money, but not the big money. And we're seeing if it's a struggle or not to be able to run a successful campaign. So seeing what he's going through, how do you succeed both as a third-party candidate and not dealing with large money from large places?
I'll have 100 volunteers by Labor Day. The racehorse starts for the Senate race after Labor Day. The people who have been working on the Bernie campaign are coming over to my campaign. 63% of the people at the Democratic convention were for Bernie. They wanted Michael Bennet in order to support Bernie, not Hillary. Michael's got $12 million in his coffer. 80% of it is coming from outside money, from corporate money. He's representing the corporations. Darrell's going to follow suit with that. And then there'll probably be another $10 or $20 million of dark money or outside money that are just going to be fighting between those two candidates.
So I'm pulling these from your website. Some of the issues that you stand for include end endless wars, adopt a single-payer national health system, solar energy first, increase the minimum wage to $15 an hour, make college free, equal pay for women, pathway to citizenship. If I look at that, you're a Democrat. So what makes you green?
Because I'll actually get these done. I'll actually talk about them. The first one, endless war. We've been at war for 15 years. The 9/11 reports come out and tied it to the Saudi regime. Why are we not hearing about Barack Obama spending $1 trillion or giving $1 trillion of weapons to allies around the world in continuing endless war? Why are we not hearing Michael Bennet say he will not vote for an omnibus bill or defense bill until there's an audit on the military so that we could find money in the military budget in order to bring it back for an environmental economy, not a war economy?
We can't even get an accurate audit on the VA in Aurora right now.
Well, there's never been an audit on the defense industry. You know, we're not broke. We're just spending it on endless wars. And Michael doesn't talk about that. And Michael doesn't talk about the issues that we need in order to get the right cheaper drugs through the pharmaceutical company, because he's taking money from groups like DaVita, who's been indicted for taking money from or a fraud against the Medicare industry. So where does Michael or where does Darrell Glenn talk about the issues that represent people and not the corporations where they're getting money from?
If it's not for programs like this, or the outreach that you do? How do you fight through the clutter to be heard?
Well, I think everybody has an uphill battle in fighting through the clutter. We hear it all the time. But look at what we've seen in the last year, Marshall. This is a historic time period between now and November 8th. People want to not have their children's children going into endless and perpetual war. They want real solutions to global warming. They want a real narrowing of the inequality gap, and they want real racial injustice.
But how are they learning about this?
Well, first of all, you got to be talking about it, and what I think you're alluding to is that message came through movements. That didn't just come through Bernie Sanders. I've been in a lot of movements, a lot of civil disobedience in the last couple of years. I've fought for $15 an hour minimum wage. I fought for to free Palestine and the BDS movement, and 6 Black Lives Lay Down protests and things like that. I don't hear our candidates or our representatives talking about the issues that are being talked about on the streets.
We've got about 20 seconds here. A lot of what you stand for could be fixed locally. Why not run for state office?
Well, that's a longer answer, and it's very cynical. But we see a lot of the same problems on the state level. Look, Governor Hickenlooper had a Democratic House and Senate, and he couldn't get rid of the death penalty. There are so many issues that the Democrats are too scared to represent because they're taking money and they're playing right of center. I won't do that. I'll represent the people. We're going to have a people's campaign, and I will become the next U.S. Senator for the state of Colorado.
Arn Menconi, the Green Party candidate that you'll see on your ballot in November. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be right back.